Sister Susie. Just checking in. We're loud and clear in the bar there.
You are indeed.
Okay, and I'm just checking the...
the drinks trolley.
David Jacobs Memorial Drinks Trolley is here. What are we serving today?
Well, I thought as the nights are getting a bit darker, how about a glass of Argentinian Malbec would be quite nice.
Is that good?
It's delicious.
Excellent. I'll have half a pint. Thank you very much. Always drink responsibly. Now, what do we have here? We have a confession from Robbie. Dear Simon and your ever-forgiving collective, my confession takes us back to a dark, damp Thursday night in Stoke-on-Trent. It was a glamorous start. In late October 1999. It's Halloween. Our local pub, The Station, had for many years been a welcoming heart of the community and a real focal point. However, at this time, the place had become, as they say, very tired and in a somewhat sad state. A lady from Ireland named Cara was brought in by the brewery to try and get the pub back into shape like it used to be in those heady beer-soaked days of the 70s and 80s. Cara was a deeply religious, feisty Irish lady who stood no lip from the locals. And to be honest, she had better tattoos than most of the men in there.
Right.
You get the picture.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Initially, the pub was a popular place again. Faces old and new came back through the door. I had taken a part-time job there, 4 nights a week, helping behind the bar. And with the upcoming Millennium celebrations, they were being discussed by the locals. And things were certainly on the up for this once great pub. However, as I mentioned earlier, Cara was most certainly an honest and, let's say, opinionated lady who had certainly ruffled a few of the locals' feathers. So they had big plans for the upcoming Halloween Scarefest, just a few days away. She had very dismissive views on all things Halloween, and also by now she was starting to miss the Emerald Isle and home. She didn't want to make any real effort for what she called the silly ghost and witches thing. You can imagine that would be...
Yeah.
Anyway, I had tried, says Robbie, over the past few weeks to keep her on board. However, I had been introducing such revolutionary ideas as free pool and free jukebox, and I managed to convince her to even book a Halloween disco. On the Wednesday leading up to Halloween, a day like today, it had been a really quiet evening. Cara had spent the evening upstairs, came down just after 11 to lock up and check that everything was okay. We said our farewells. As I mentioned earlier in my confession, the pub was a shadow of its former self, and certain areas were rather spooky and off-limits to customers, but still had to be made secure. I continued to clean ashtrays and replace beer mats, those were the days, as I heard Cara chuntering around to what I can only describe as a strongly worded Gaelic prayer. She went through to the back bar, which was a dingy room with hardly any lighting, full of cobwebs, creaky floorboards. She was just checking the dodgy fire doors there. I just happened to be walking past the free jukebox, and I peered down the tracks. Knowing her feelings on Halloween, my eyes inadvertently focused on track E7 as I pressed the keys to play the track. I waited for the many speakers still connected around the desolate old pub to blast out. The disc settled on the turntable. Cara continued to pray next door. The playing arm settled on the record. The jukebox made that arm on the record sound that we love so much. Fran was now onto her Hail Marys. The first groove hit the needle, and the jukebox speakers burst into life. I am the god of hellfire, and I bring you fire. Obviously, the crazy world of Arthur Brown. Well, the screaming from that dingy room was heard for miles, and Cara flew into view, ran furiously behind the bar, disappeared up the stairs, slamming the door. She didn't notice me. She was using words even a poor lad from Stoke had never heard, and that's saying something. Cara actually left the next day and was never heard of again. Tragic ending. Father Simon, please, can I ask for forgiveness from not just Cara, who probably spent the next few years telling people about this dirty, haunted pub in the Potteries, but also to the local community. You see, they were without a pub for the planned Halloween and Millennium celebrations. Didn't happen. The pub was never opened again, and it stood derelict for years and was sadly knocked down in 2019.
Oh dear.
And this, I believe, was the beginning of the end, says Robbie. Now, I'm suspecting that Sister Susie may well take quite a hard line on this because it means the end of a pub due to his recklessness just because he wanted to play the crazy world of Arthur Brown. Sister Susie.
Yeah, exactly, Robbie. I just think if that was the beginning of the end, then I just can't forgive you, because if you brought that pub down and it's now closed, never to be open again, think of all the people that were really excited about that Halloween disco that you'd arranged. Or the Millennium Party. I'm sorry, Robbie, can't forgive you. Cara seemed like a lovely lady and a lovely landlord. I don't know why you'd do it.
I thought you'd say that. And brother from another gutter.
Was she a lovely landlord? I'm not convinced, Suze. I mean, for one, she couldn't put up with the god of hellfire. That's one thing against her. And the second is, she comes down at 11. That's it. So she's upstairs watching the telly or doing whatever, and then comes down at 11 to lock up. You're supposed to be the landlady. You're supposed to be pulling the pints. Why is she upstairs?
She's got staff.
Doesn't make any
sense
at all. Not cut out for the industry. That's my verdict on Cara. So for that reason, I choose